In this video, we are going to learn about what is force update in class-based component. So we know that the JSX rendered from a component is essentially dependent on props and state, which means that if any of the props or any of the state which is defined here, if they change, then automatically the component gets re-rendered. You don't need to do anything. However, what if something inside this is dependent on some value which is not maybe which is not a class, which is not a state or prop, and you should definitely avoid this. But let me show you an example. So let's say while the component was created for the first time in the constructor, you created some variable, let's say in the field itself, which means that this dot, let's say ABC is equal to I don't know, like hello world. Okay, now this thing is a value. Okay, this value obviously you can render, right? And you'll see that that hello world is printed, right? Looks like not much of a difference, right? Whether it is a prop or state or like this, right? But let's see one difference. Let's say you do something like this. Instead, you have a button where you're trying to see that what happens when I change something on. So on click is, let's say, some handler, and this handler is defined in the class as, let's say, uh, a place where you change this. So let's say instead of hello world, you change it to hello there. Plain and simple, right? Now you might be thinking that, yeah, when I click, then this dot handler is called. When this dot handler is called, and this dot abc is changed. In fact, you can print also here that handler called. Okay. However, if you see that hello world is there, that is fine. But as soon as I click, even if handler is called, this thing is not changing, you see. And this thing is not changing because all you did in the handler is just change ABC field, right? But then nobody says that you have to re-render. The re-rendering of a component happens only if something in the props or something in the state changes. If something in the prop or something in the state changes, then React automatically re-renders. But here you are changing a field like which is directly attached to this class, right? So React does not need to re-render. In fact, if you want to force React to re-render, then there is a method called this dot force update. This is the thing. So now you are using force update because you know that I'm doing something because, so let's say here if you did something in this dot set state or something, right? There's no state here, but anyways, I'm saying that if you did this dot set state or something, then you don't need to do force update because you know that automatically when you change state, then anything it changes that has to be reflected here, so automatically that will come. However, if you do something like this where you are changing something which is not state or something which is not changed from outside, which is like prop, then you have to do something like this. And if you do something like this, then you are forcing React to re-render. And if you see, then if you click, then you can see that now hello world becomes hello there. And just as a matter of fact, when you do something like this, then other normal lifecycle methods as it is, they are also called. So if you think that, let's say, does this obviously initially it will be printed, but let's say clear everything, and now if I click this thing, then hello world changes to hello there, right? Now you can see that component did mount is not called, because obviously this is just called for the first time. I'm not unmounting the component, right? So why should it get called again, right? But as we'll see later, there are some other methods like component did update or something, right? So they are called, but anyways, we have not learned this thing as of now, but just wanted to tell you that things which are like this, you can see that component update is called. So if component update gets called whenever something changes and the component gets re-rendered, whenever the component gets re-rendered, then as soon as the first re-render, it is not called. So you can see clearly that only component did mount is called, component did update is not called, right? But when I change something, then this from the second time when something changes, then component update gets called. We'll learn this in detail later, but right now just wanted to tell you that if you do force update or something, then then uh, then that thing, those lifecycle methods work as usual. That's all. Now this force dot update, for this dot force update is only applicable for class components, okay? Because something like this does not exist on functional components. Okay, so that will be all for this one. See you in the next one.